Okay, so here is our saltwater solution. We got about 2 gallons of water here with about 1 pound of salt mixed in. That's about the ratio you want. For every gallon of water, you want about a half pound of salt. Now you want to start out with hot water so that way all of the salt dissolves in it, and then you just slowly mix it, wait for it to cool down, and then you're going to dip the coon into the saltwater solution. Now you remember about 24 hours ago how we resalted them? We folded them back inside out, outside in, whatever we did, and gave him another layer of salt. We're going to open them up again. And once again, we're just going to shake all of that salt right out. This is when it comes in handy to have a nice garbage bin right here, so you can shake all of your salt right into it. What I'll do is I'll take the lid off. There we go. And since this case is skinned, or since this is a cased skin, and he has just that one hole at the bottom here, I'm just going to work him back and forth a little bit. Try to get all of that salt to come down through the bottom so we don't have salt going everywhere and making even more of a mess than we need to clean up. So just going to shake them out a little bit. Then we're going to flip them inside out again. Boop. Ugh. Yeah, salt does go everywhere. We'll just turn this saw inside out and we'll just use the back of it. So we got all of the salt off of our skin. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to submerge it all the way into the water. And once again, with these cased skins, you want to make sure that you can get some water on the inside so it all fits in there. Squeeze it through my hands, all while keeping it under the water, just to make sure that we get any extra little air pockets out, just to make sure everything in there is getting wet and that skin can soak up plenty of the saltwater solution. And that's just going to get into the skin a little deeper than the salt regularly would. The salt really dries it out nice, but now when you have it in a saltwater solution, you're definitely excuse me, going through the whole skin. So right now it's about I want to say it's close to 10 at night right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let it sit overnight. I'm going to go to bed, and then when we wake up, we're going to take it out and we're going to give it a nice rinse in nice clean water, and then we're going to continue with the thinning process. So it's the next morning. Now we let the coon sit in our saltwater solution for the just overnight. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to pour all of this water out and we're going to rinse it out real nice.
Use warm water. It doesn't have to be cold, but don't use hot. the skin is out, we're just gonna rinse off all of the skin.
Skin nice and clean. And once we're done with the skin, with the inner layer of skin, the hypodermis, we'll move out and we'll wash off the hair and try to massage the epidermis. Later, we'll wash it in Dawn soap again. That'll get a lot of the grease, any of the last bits of grease out of there. And that'll give us a nice clean fur as well. So then we'll turn it inside out so it can get the fur nice and clean as well. And you can see as we've been turning our coon in and out, it starts to open up a lot easier for us.
Everything we do. Make sure you get the whole coon. Don't just get one side. Be sure to get that belly too. Alright, so we got our coon all nice and rinsed out.
Now what we're going to do, since we got our skin out, or fur out, just going to wring her out. Once again, we're not going to wring it out like you would any regular towel or anything. You just want to do your hand, I was going to say hand over fist, but just go ahead and squeeze it. And just work your way all the way down. Try to squeeze a bunch of that water out of there. Making sure not to pull on any of the hair, because that's how you start to get a lot of that hair slipping out, and then you get bald patches. And then you can just let it sit and air dry for a little bit. What we are going to do is we're going to put it on our wire stretcher just to stretch it out a little bit, give it a little chance to air dry. I'll put it in front of a fan for just to let it dry out, and then we'll continue with the skin thinning process. So here we have a number 4 stretcher. And what we're going to do is we're just going to grab our coon down by the window here. That's what this is called, the window. So we got the belly of the coon right here, and you can see we got this little opening here where we came up in the fleshing process. This is down where Mr. Coon's junk would have been, but we obviously cut that out. And in the fur trading business, this is called the window, because when this skin is inside out, they use this window to peer in to actually look at this part of the fur, just so they can get an idea of what they're working with. But what we're going to do is we're just going to go by the window, and we're just going to put that little wire stretcher right inside the coon there. Going to stretch it up so we got the nose right on the tip here. We'll try to get them on there as even as we can. Then of course you want to make sure that your Little arms are all the way out too. Get those out. Perfect. And then what we'll do is we'll just take this coon, we'll put him in front of a fan for a little bit, give his hair a little time to dry, let that inside layer of skin kind of dry out a little bit. I'll put a couple things in here to open them up so the air can get in and circulate and try to dry out that skin a little bit before we start the skin thinning process. Okay everyone, so we've given the coon a little bit of time to dry after we wrung them out and everything. Now what we're going to do is, this will be the last time that we try to remove any fat and oils that are still left on the skin. After you let them dry out a little bit, any extra fat or any grease that comes to the surface is very easy to take off. But I'll show you what we will do. So we got its skin out right now, and what we're going to do is we're just going to put it right on one of our drying boards. Just kind of show you what I'm going to be using. I'll just be using this fish scaler. I'll be using the fine side this time just to lightly scrape and try to get anything off of there. I will be using a couple little paper towel bits just to wipe off any ooze or any fats that get caught up in here. And if need be, I have it set out, but I probably won't be using it very much. I just have a little razor blade here. So I'll just be using that for cutting through any little bits that are giving me problems. So here we go. The one thing I didn't show you was I used my hair dryer just to dry the back of the neck here on the coon. Just because you do want to work down this part right here. So I had dried it out, as I did do a little bit of scraping too. But all you want to do is you just want to try to break that up as much as you can, or not as much, but a little bit more, just to try to thin out the neck a little bit. You can feel if you pinch the skin, like right here in the middle of the back, you can feel about how thick it is with your fingers, skin to skin, and then that little bit of hair in between. And then if you do it right up here, you can feel how thick that skin is, skin to skin, and fur in between. So ideally you just want to bring that down a little bit. You don't have to get it as close to the thickness of the skin that you get back here in the middle of the back, but you just want to thin it out just a little bit. So now that we have the skin all thinned out behind the neck, and we have all of the fat patches taken off, we're going to move on to the next step. So we're going to give this coon a bath in nice warm water with Dawn. Hey, there it is. And then once we're done giving it the nice warm bath, We're going to rinse it out and let it hang to dry. And then once it starts getting dry, we're going to move on to the next step, which is adding the hide tanning formula. Hey, there that is. So this is the Deer Hunter and Trapper's hide tanning formula. I have used this on a bunch of critters in the past. It's very easy to use. You just follow the instructions on how they want you to do it. You just warm it up in a little bit of hot water for about a half hour. You throw the whole bottle into a tub of hot water. Let it warm up. Let it get nice and runny. And then what we'll just do is we'll just take a little brush and we'll spread it all over the skin.